AT&T, Kevin Prendergast, wealth advisor with the Retirement Network. Two topics today. I'm recording this video on Tuesday, October 26th. Second topic, we're going to get into the September segment rates, as always, impact on pension lump sums. But first, I want to spend a little time exploring something that we're hearing a lot in our conversations with management employees considering retirement before year end. So again, for non-union or management employees, if you're in the union, your benefits are bargained for, some of these comments are going to be irrelevant to you. But for management employees who are considering retirement before year end because of the adverse changes to some benefits, we're hearing frequently that I need to retire by November 30th. And there's kind of two things to consider. We don't think the November 30th deadline applies to everyone. And we don't know that we don't know the November 30th deadline is all that important, and I'll talk about why. So number one, big concern a lot of management employees have is the pre-65 medical subsidy going away. And all we've seen in writing from the company is that so long as you are not an active employee on January 1st of 2022, that benefit is unaffected. So you will still be eligible, assuming you're eligible in the first place, you will still be eligible for the pre-65 medical subsidy as long as you are not an active employee on January 1st, 2022. Okay, that's pretty clear. The other reason we think folks might be focused on November 30th is that there are some pension programs, not all, but some pension programs that will put your commencement date at the first of the following month. Now, it's important to understand that even within the ranks of management employees, there are different pension programs with subtle but important differences. So if you are in the non-bargained program, you log into Fidelity Net Benefits, it says non-bargained program, then your commencement date can be the next day after your retirement. So if you retire on December 15th, you can commence your pension on December 16th. That means you get the November 2020 segment rates, not November 2021. If you're in the non-bargain program, which is probably the most common management program that we see. Okay. Now, if you're in the mobility program, by comparison, which is another program that we see commonly, if you're in the mobility program, then your commencement date must be the first of the following month. So if you retire December 15th, your commencement date is going to be January 1st. We think these are the folks that are impacted by this November 30th date. But mobility program lump sums tend to be a lot smaller in dollar terms than non-bargain program lump sums. So you'll want to weigh the trade-off between collecting another paycheck or two in the month of December and the impact on your pension lump sum. The value of your paychecks might be more than the adverse impact of the segment rates if you're in the smaller mobility program and your lump sum is relatively small. Non-bargain program lump sums tend to be very large, hundreds of thousands, if not in the millions of dollars, whereas mobility program lump sums tend to be smaller, maybe in the tens or low hundreds of thousands of dollars from our experience. Okay, so if you're in the mobility program, yes, your commencement date will go to the first of the following month, but the question is the impact big enough to warrant retiring sooner, or would those additional paychecks be more valuable to you? Okay, so takeaway here is the person at the desk next to you might be in a different pension program, even though he or she is also a management employee, and it's really important to understand the subtle differences. If you're unsure, when you go into the Fidelity estimate tool, you're often asked to put in two dates. One will be your last day with AT&T. That's the first date that you put in. And then the second date that you put in is your begin date for your pension, your commencement date. If you want to check your plan's rules, your specific pension program's rules, make those two dates the exact same day. So do December 15th of 2021 as your retirement date, your last day, and then do December 15th of 2021 as your commencement date. Click calculate, and then once the calculation is made, Fidelity's system will default the pension start date, the begin date, to whatever rule is true of your specific program. It's hard coded into the system. Okay, so that's a good way to check if you're unsure. Okay, so that addresses the whole November 30th dynamic. Now let's get into the September rates. Recording this video a bit later than usual because I wanted to have an opportunity to quantify the impact of these current rates. So it took a little more time to do that. I know that many of you are in kind of your decision window where you're either going to decide to retire or not before year end. So I wanted to give you some hard dollar numbers to work with. All right. So again, a pension lump sum commenced in 2021, anytime during this calendar year, even if it's in December, is generally going to be calculated using the November of 2020 segment rates. It's not until we get into commencement in 2022 that we'd be working with the November 2021 segment rates, which we don't have yet, and we won't have until mid-December. So September, first segment crept up a little bit. We're at 0.7 now compared to 0.53. Second segment also crept up a bit, 2.55 compared to 2.31. And the third segment actually came down 3.06 compared to 3.09. So the third segment is actually lower. And this has had the effect of kind of moderating the impact of these segment rates. So in the example that I ran with an AT&T employee last week, pension lump sum was about $600,000. And when we used a January 1st, 2022 commencement date with these September rates, just for illustrative purposes, the impact was about 1%. So on a $600,000 pension, that impact was about $6,000. You can scale it accordingly. So if your pension is larger or smaller in dollar terms, just multiply it by 1% times 0.01, and that's going to give you the estimated dollar impact as we sit here today on these segment rates and where they're trending. We've got a few more months before we'll have, 2 more months to be precise, before we'll have the November rates that will help you make a decision about commencement this year versus commencement in January. Okay. Hopefully this is helpful. If you have questions about anything we talked about today, feel free to go to our website, reply to the email containing this video. Happy to schedule a conversation with one of our advisors. All right. Take care. See you next month. Bye.